So, you guys remember how, not too long ago, there was a song using Ia's English voice bank that was all about how being trans was apparently dumb and how we all just sort of went, hey, look at how stupid this song is, laughed at the absurdity of using a vocal synth to be transphobic given how common queer those are, and then just sort of forgot about it a week later. Yeah. Anyway, the guy who made it is such a terrible person that the song is even the worst thing related to him. Hi, I'm Pepper and Drizzle, and I'm gonna be using a Mobby from Shin Megami Tensei to represent myself, since I'm using too much of my art-related brain power on art fight to make an actual avatar right now. Our topic of the video is the Vocaloid producer Andres Ferraris. Now, who is Andres? He's some guy who made too many even polka covers, peaked with the Galaka one, and then everyone forgot about him because nobody likes a one-trick pony. Then he made a really bad song that was just transphobic, and other than the fact that it's just transphobia in song form, it's just doo-doo feces in general. Anyway, he saw everyone was making fun of him and went, hey, I'm famous Steve, bitches. So now he's on his high horse like he's untouchable. Really, this is just the Emperor's new clothes, but Ia's there too. Also, he's a fan of using slurs and being a dick, and his behavior is genuinely unacceptable and no one has called him out on it, so I'm gonna do that today.
I'm gonna say the N-word!
Andres is a fan of the T-slurs, both of the T-slurs. He really likes using them. And the N-word, apparently. This will bleed into the other sections because, again, he loves slurs. He can't live without calling someone he hates a slur. And for a Catholic whose main thing is love, he sure does hate a lot of people. There were more T-slurs being thrown around in the YouTube comic section of the song, but he closed comments. Probably because he's a coward. Here he claimed that saying slurs won't send him to hell, and he's just imperfect. But we aren't expecting every Christian and Catholic to be the most perfect people. We just don't want them being dicks to everyone that isn't like them. There's also this exchange where he also makes light of SA while saying the actual N-word. Not the hard R, but I don't think he can say that since he's not black. And yes, people are offended by words, Andres, because the words were used to oppress people.
Fish, yo, motherfucking gay fish.
He really hates LGBT people so much, a lot. And he loves making fun of how high the rate of which trans people consider committing bad Squidward creepypasta. His favorite pastimes, other than making fun of people killing themselves, is calling lesbians fat and calling people degenerates. If you need even more definitive proof, he just straight up says that trans people deserve to disappear. Then called them all degenerates, groomers, and vile. Really, this just speaks for itself, of how much he actually wants these people to die. Anyway, this segment was a little short, since again, this bleeds into the other sections.
I'm racist now.
There's a lot of instances of him being racist and ableist. I'm not sure what that word he says in the first tweet means, but it's probably a slur. And then there's this. I think this was an argument about how Miku can be anything, and he just sort of goes for the most offensive thing he can think of. Oh yeah, not to get sidetracked, but he argues that Miku can't be anything other than 16. And that, whenever someone makes something of Miku that is very clearly older, like Rabbit Hole, for example, he, says, I say she's 16 because that's her age. Anyway, did you know that Ia, the Vocaloid he draws completely naked in the PV for his song, is only 16? Not to mention this whitewashed fly he drew, with a slaw. Censored, but still. And this is what he said about the art of someone who redrew it. I don't know if Andrus is being sarcastic when calling himself racist, but seeing what we saw, we probably don't need an answer for that. Also, he says his inbred-looking melatonin-less fly is better than normal fly, so he probably is a racist. Oh yeah, also, he just straight up says that he hates Jewish people.
I like to run around all day and hurt people's feelings.
Of course, seeing how he is such a lovely person to be around, you'd assume that Andrus would never bully someone. Like, never bully anyone. Anyway, he accuses a 16-year-old of being a pedo. He also says that a VTuber harassing kids is based. And then there is this. Basically what happened is that a Vocaloid artist drew a trans mask Miku, and he started to accuse them of grooming minors with his charming way of words. Now, of course, this is awful. He shouldn't be harassing people like this. But hey, at least he's doing it because he doesn't like pedophiles. What does he look like? The type of guy who indulges in or creates content based around the sexualization of children?
I love kids, Charlie! I love kids!
He's a lolicon. I'm gonna try to not say that word again because it's a very uncomfortable thing. But yeah, that's what he is. So while going through the proof, someone said that Andreas liked young girls or something like that. So I reached out to them and they said that radio is a dog whistle for people who like images of young girls. And when you do look at the image, the girl in question is she's younger. Oh, but don't worry guys, his interest in young girls is apparently safe for work. In fact, look at this very safe for work and family friendly image of this girl that I had to censor. He's completely innocent with wanting this figurine of a young looking girl in a swimsuit. Oh, and look at this image he drew of a guy and a young looking girl having interactions with each other. This image is very much family friendly and has no sexual undertones whatsoever. But yeah, no, that's actually fucking gross. So to conclude, Andres Ferraris hates queer people, is racist, has called people groomers with the only evidence being that he particularly hates the people they support, aka literally just trans people, and likes his girls to look like they don't know how to tie their shoes. I wanted more people to be aware of this situation because this dude is so involved with the Vocaloid fandom, which is literally filled with minorities of all kinds, which he hates. And the fact that at least 90% of the things he's doing are so full of nothing but malice for them, especially trans people, another big part of the Vocaloid community, is quite scary. And it's just so hypocritical that he'd call them pedos and such while being an Nword liker. And no, the 1,000-year dragon thing does not justify it. There's probably like way more other instances of him being a jerk and stuff, but this is probably enough proof to conclude that he's not a very good person. So anyway, that's all I gotta say for today, and if you want to see more lighthearted stuff in the future, you should consider subscribing. Bye!